Copywriter.
So, thanks, Michael, for the warm welcome. And I think this panel is a great pleasure, although we're just starting now and hope more people come in, but it's fine. AI beyond ChatGPT. One question to everybody here. You know what happened 640 days ago? Any guessing? No. Yes, sir. You're right. I buy you a beer afterwards. Yes, 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 yes. And since then, I think we all saw this amazing journey of ChatGPT, 200 million users, and it turned definitely the whole thing on top. And of course, we know all the experts that are sitting here know that AI was done before, but it was not visible and tangible for everybody of us. And I think that was the biggest change in history, that because the language was enabled and you can talk and you can text and prompt something, suddenly you can talk to this machine in a totally different way, and you don't need to be an expert. So I think that was the interesting thing. And also this started a race for AI investment. I think, I don't know, 300 billion since then were invested, I think, in AI companies. Only OpenAI got 11.3 billion in 7 rounds, okay? Investing, of course, major investors, Microsoft, and you know that all. And it's definitely gold rush. We'll see what will happen in the future. But what was interesting for me to see over this, let's say, 640 days, how fast this went. And from this, let's say, very high-level communication AI, it's going down into the verticals. And I think today I'm really happy, and thanks to Splittech City to give us the possibility to talk about it. I think we have to go into the verticals and in different topics where AI agents, whatever you call that, is implemented and living. And I'd like to introduce you those 3 panelists now that they do this all day, every day. And I'd like to start with my friend Matthias Röder, also from Salzburg, running the Carrion Institute, and he will probably explain a little bit what this is, but it's about music. And he is a Harvard alumni and does great things, and he will talk anyway later tonight as a speaker when the lights go down in the dark, and then we hear some music and we hear an amazing speech. So he will talk about this element. Then we have Vitaly Vehorov from Ukraine, who is a data scientist, also a lawyer, I understood. And he's working in marketing, sales, lead generation, where he kind of created some very unique setting of how you use different AI tools together for creating a great value for the customers. And then Konstantin Mirin lives in Split also. He is an expert in software development with AI. So his company, all around the world active, they use AI for development, for testing, even for HR recruiting, etc. And I like everybody now that you maybe with one sentence say what you do, and then tell us how you implement and how you work with AI. And maybe Vitaly, maybe I want to start with you.
Okay.
So tell us quickly what you do, and then how you use AI for yourself and for your customers.
Okay, guys, nice to meet you. It's really nice to be here. Thank you for the intro. Yeah, I've been in the market of IT for the 12 years, I believe, in the role of business development. And so we started to use some AI tools many years ago, and but I believe it's not the real AI, but anyway. And for now, I think the best combination for the AI and human works, it's to use AI tools for to optimize all the like regular work and to improve your productivity. So you can use many different AI tools for the brand awareness to avoid this like boring work with the some analytics and statistic for the your perfect ICP to collect the everyday content for your social networks. There is few other powerful things. I believe the most important is the new tools for the emails, for the emailing. So there is new things like built-in some analytics stuff, so you can find your customers properly from the email tools directly, and there is new things like buyer intent, for example. It's all the email systems start to use this feature, and it's quite useful. I believe it's because of the new algorithm of the Google. So people who trying to search for the some products. So Google opened these features for the like an open source. So now most of the email tools can use it. So there is many things that you can use.
What I really found interesting is that you said ICP, and probably you might know that, but it's the ideal customer profile. And that's where they start from. And then using those tools to really get into the details. And like Vitaly said that, so I found it very impressive how you set up your work.
Yeah. It's a combination. I'm gonna finish. Like it's a combination of like it's not about the like all from the it's gonna work for you. It's just like your tool to improve your daily work. But anyway, it's decision support. All the work should be done by human, because now in the marketing and the sales industry for the IT there is some crisis, and it's harder and harder to find proper leads, to find the customers. So you need to write your emails to be engaged with the customers properly, and you need to have a custom introductions, custom emails. So anyway, it's a human work. So you don't need to be worried about the.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting piece. Actually, you still need to be human, but you need to use those tools very intelligently and combine them, and always reiterate. And then in the end, I would not be afraid of AI because this is not so good that you say, okay, this is my ICP, and I need this. Okay, and I press a button. This is not working. Yeah. So it's actually a very detailed process to prepare for these campaigns that Red Lake runs. So happy. I guess you're happy to share more afterwards.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thanks, Vitaly. Matthias, I think you're in this super interesting business of entertainment. Maybe you tell us a little bit about Karian Institute and your role, and then what you do a little bit, and how you see AI, and how AI actually amazingly is used in the music industry.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andreas. What I do is I manage the intellectual property rights of one of the great conductors of the 20th century, Herbert von Karajan. He was a musician who was selling as many records as the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. He was also a musician who was extremely interested in technology and using technology to bring music to new people all the time. So just one example, I always jokingly say, half jokingly, he invented MTV, music television, because he was the first person to actually create films for musical pieces of composers like Bach, Beethoven, and so on. So Hollywood production scale type of things. Later on, the compact disc He was very much involved in that. So a true innovator. And in the spirit of this great innovator in music, the Karajan Institute is trying to find new technology in music every year. At the Karajan Music Tech Conference, we highlight what's out there in the market, things that aren't really on the radar of anyone yet. So I've been personally doing things with AI for the last 20 years. I started, even more, I guess. I started in 2002 with using artificial neural networks in the field of musicology, where we tried to identify the copyists in music manuscripts. Right, that's a thing that in the world 4 or 5 people can do, and we said, well, we can maybe teach an artificial intelligence how to do it. And this was very, very early days. There was the Stuttgart neural network simulator, and we used that to show that it's in principle doable. But everyone at the time said, like, why do you waste your time with this? You know, it's not gonna be something that people can use. But there was a small group in the field of musicology back then who said, no, there's a good chance that, you know, we might have the type of data we need to scale this, that we might have the type of computing power to actually do this without a big NASA budget. And so we kept working at it. And yeah, you mentioned ChatGPT. That was a big moment in the time of technology, in the history of technology. We were shortly before ChatGPT, we were finishing a big project where we used an AI that could compose like Beethoven to finish his 10th symphony, for which he only had sketches. And back then, this was in 2019 when we started, people said to us and to the people who paid for the project, this is not going to work. It's impossible to do it. It's interestingly, some people from Google said that. But we used the technology that was invented at Google, the transformer architecture, to do it, and it worked. And it worked so well that people couldn't tell the difference between what Beethoven wrote and what the computer did. So,
and I guess we hear something tonight, correct?
Tonight I'm going to show you, you'll hear some music, of course. But what I wanted to say is that this was before ChatGPT came out, and we had a hard time convincing people that this is possible. After ChatGPT, you know, that came just one or 1.5 years after we finished the project. When I talk to people about, yeah, an AI can do this and that and finish and compose like Beethoven, finish his company, they shrug like this and say like, yeah, of course, why not? I mean, it's completely clear. So this is another thing that's very important, that the expectations have really changed dramatically after ChatGPT came along, right? So this is something that we are now dealing with in music, and I think most companies have responded in such a way that they are now producing AI tools for musicians on a professional interaction. So it's more like business to business, where you provide tools for the professionals, and those get used in the workflow that they have been doing for always, really. Yeah. So.
I mean, there's a big topic in this industry about IP and who owns the copyright.
Yeah.
I mean, in old days it was clear, copyright is to be paid to the composer and to the text author. How do you see this now going forward?
I think that ultimately not much has changed. So when you train an AI model, you use the copyright of someone. And now there are two camps. One camp says, well, you know, I can also look at an image and learn how to paint, and I don't have to pay the author of the image. And then there are the folks who say, well, you are using the composition at scale, you're making copies of it, and so on. So actually, you owe me a license. I personally think the second view is going to prevail, because that's in the industry's interest. And so everyone who's going to train an AI is going to have to pay the owners of the original compositions. What comes out of the AI, that's a different story, because correct, you know, in most jurisdictions you cannot copyright something that wasn't done by a human. So what do you do with that? I think most AIs are used right now with humans in the loop, where humans are actually in the driver's seat. So the human is the person using the AI tool, and so the result of what they are doing is something that, in my opinion, can be copyrighted because the human is in the driver's seat. So that's how I see it, and we're going to see this roll out in the next 3 to 5 years, I think.
Great, thank you. Konstantin, so you are in this hardcore software business. Tell us a little bit about how you and your company uses AI for yourself and for your customers.
Yeah, sure. So we, as a software company, that's a small software company of 150 people, we have all sorts of clients. Well, we work with music as well as for our clients, managing some rights and claims and this kind of things. We don't use AI in that ourselves. Instead, our client is licensing a few AI tools that we kind of co-created at some point for fingerprinting, understand like basically what Shazam is doing for like, hey, what is playing? Well, we do this at scale for everything that's published on YouTube to understand who is playing something that our client actually has copyright for. So that's just an example of the bat. But more broadly, I think before answering that question, I wanted to talk to mention something very important about GPT and this like aha moment 640 days ago. I think Maria just said it correctly. The thing that changed in principle is not just the way that people started interacting with it. Everyone understood, oh, this is possible. And that's why we've got so much investment in this. That's why we've got, I don't know how many competing LLMs. And that's why we have all this like, okay, first person who goes this path, he doesn't know if he can succeed or not. The second who follows, okay, this is the way you do it. So I think in a way, we are right now in the situation when we trying to apply LLMs to software, for example, we're not maybe in the first steps, but in the first, tens or hundreds, who are not sure, well, if you do this, can you actually get the result that you want? And I think it's important not to get discouraged when you are asking, hey, can you like redo this code and it produces something that you're not satisfied with? Well, you keep iterating, and with a firm belief that, the solution is there, you just don't know it yet. And this is what we do when we apply this for, let's say, internal processes. Well, sales, marketing, of course, lead qualification, candidate qualification, job descriptions. I can go on, but just to keep it brief, on that front, of course, but also on the internal like software development itself. Like, if you ask GPT off the bat, or any LM, Claude is the best for coding today, can you write a test for this class? Oh, well, he kind of can, but it's not working. So, but still there are ways to manipulate this, to do the multi-agent. So my point here is that, yeah, we do it for coding. We write tests automatically. Yeah, we do. We use both Reddit tools and something that we do in-house as well for like code analysis, security analysis, etc. All of that is like more or less.
But it's improving the productivity, correct?
Absolutely.
I think that's the key.
Absolutely. So, well, what I'm saying, well, pretty much all hands in the company, like the goal of each and every of us is to think, how can I improve my productivity with these tools? 10x at least. Because I know, like in our sales lead generation, actually lead research process, there are aspects that we increase not 10, like 50x using certain tools, certain approaches, and there are similar ones that we try to do now with testing, for example. Again, you cannot get rid of person, no way. We are talking, just like you said, about dramatically improving productivity of the very same people and giving them tools to, achieve way more than it was possible before.
So for everybody in the audience, I think it's very encouraging. I think that with these AI tools, AI agents, whatever you call them, you can improve your productivity, and this is probably very useful in the time where resources are scarce, because we don't have enough developers, we don't have enough AI specialists. So in Europe and in the world, it doesn't matter where. So I think that's a really key benefit of that what you heard here today.
I think it's also a great tool to do prototyping. So I'm not a great coder. I code in Python, and I've been dabbling along for the last 20 years. But now with ChatGPT and other tools, I can quickly do something in a language that I don't know, like JavaScript, for instance. Yeah, it's close to Python, but it's not the same. So what I do is I work with these tools, and I say, like, I need a function that does this and that, and I probably do it in Python like this, and then give it to me in JavaScript. So you get something to a very good point as a non-professional, and then if you want to develop it further, you go to guys like and get it done really well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think this was the AI telling us that we should stop. We wrap up. No, I think the wrap up. I mean, we can also take questions from the audience if anybody has a question. I think again, use AI. Use it for productivity, use it for creativity, use it. And I think I'm actually surprised that ChatGPT has only 200 million users. I mean, if you add all the others together, you might have 400 million users, okay? But I think it should be billions, in my point of view. I see a lot of resistance using AI because, this is bad and this could harm us, etc. Well, I mean, a very simple analogy. A drone can rescue you, but a drone can also drop a bomb on you. So it's always the question, what you do with that. Yeah? And technology is not bad per se. It's the people who use it, who act with it. So I think that's what really important is, that I think we should use it more. And especially you guys as the young generation should really live with it and use it and write your stuff and get your codes and whatever. So are there any questions here, the audience? Yes, please.
I was wondering how would you address the concerns of ethics of, for example, using publicly available code. And for example, the GitHub Copilot app works by scanning a lot of public repositories and suggesting code based on that. However, that feature is opt-out. You are supposed to go into the settings and then say, please do not scan my code. Do you think maybe it should be the other way around? This is a bit of a problem for code, but a much bigger problem, for example, for artists, because a lot of digital AI art has often used illegally, without consent, real art created by real artists, and potentially endanger their jobs and similar stuff.
Yeah, maybe I'll take this because but I come from an artist perspective. I think it's first of all very important for all artists to answer for themselves: do I want my work to be searched, indexed, and represented in large music models? Yes or no? There are certain benefits for it, there are certain downsides for it. You have to decide for yourself. Then systematically think about what kind of license do I want to apply to my output. Do I reserve my full copyright? Do I bring it out as on an MIT-based license, and so on and so on? Those are the two first steps. And then the third step is to work with the services that are already out there that can help you identify whether your music has been used in some of these cases. This is not bulletproof, but you can try that out. What you need to know, though, is that in order to enforce your rights, you will have to have someone who fights for you against giant corporations in many cases. So consider this, whether you're going to be successful or not. The other opportunity that you can see is you work with this and you create certain works that you actually give to the AIs because you want to be represented in these models. And you just consciously build your brand around certain works that you know will get used by AI and so on. So it's just you have to find ways to deal with this as an artist. For the people who create AI and they go out and they take music of someone they haven't asked permission for, I think what we see is they all get sued. Some of those guys will end up in jail. And the future will be AIs that have a very transparent way to see what they used for training and what they haven't used. So that's maybe an idealistic view of the future, but this is, I think, where we have to go.
Matthias, thank you so much. I think also that this will happen. It will take probably 10 years to have this straightened out legally, and that an EU act, for example, has been amended to protect this, I think, and copyrights, etc. But I think that's the way how it is. Technology in this way is always faster than the legal process, and especially in democracies it takes longer. And so with that, I think we should stop, correct? Yeah. Vitali, Matthias, and Konstantin, thank you so much for being part of the panel.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank
and
you.
have a great evening.